I'm going to tell you all a little story. It goes a little something like this. There's a sheriff in Polk County, Florida. This sheriff, one day last year, decides his prisoners do not need to be playing basketball. Now, the county had paid for basketball hoops to be placed in the prison so his prisoners could be playing basketball. But this sheriff, Sheriff Grady Judd, he decides, my prisoners don't need basketball. In fact, you know who does? This local church that I know of, they kind of need a basketball court. You know, they need basketball hoops. So Sheriff Grady Judd decides to donate the prison's basketball hoops to the church. Now, at this point in the story, last December, enter EllenBeth Wachs. Now, in 2006, she moved to Polk County, Florida. She was living in Pennsylvania before that, where she was a lawyer. Now she's not practicing, but she did earn the right to use the word Esquire at the end of her name. That's how she signed a request for public records so that she could look into the gift of those basketball hoops to the church. She saw it as, you know, a breach of the separation of church and state, that he would just decide on his own to give something that the public paid for to a church for free. Most times, counties, when they have property that they want to get rid of, they will auction it off. And at that time, it can be sold to a church, even for, you know, pennies on the dollar of what they paid for it. But they still can't just decide to give things to a church in the way that he did in his position as county sheriff. So, this past March, EllenBeth was at her home, and she got a knock on the door. She opened it up, and there were 20 police officers from the SWAT team there to arrest her. And when they arrested her, the charge was impersonating a lawyer. Felony impersonating a lawyer. But she is a lawyer. You know, she has earned the right to put Esquire at the end of her name. And their only evidence for her impersonating a lawyer was her putting Esquire at the end of her name. She had not done anything else in the county in any capacity, you know, giving any legal advice except for being a part of an atheist group. Her second arrest since March was for misdemeanor marijuana possession. Sources from her side say that it's a trumped-up charge, but I wasn't there. I can't tell. You know, I can't say that, you know, officers would place, you know, or plant marijuana on someone that they don't like to make an arrest. You know, that's something I can't really speak to, except for the fact that that's the second arrest she's had since March. The third arrest she's had since March was for the felony of making moaning sexual sounds from inside her own home. I don't even understand how this is a felony, but this is the third arrest she's had. This third one is a felony, just like the first. And I can't understand how you would even prosecute something like that. I mean, people that know me know that I'm single. I could be vacuuming and they could be thinking, he's single. Doesn't have a girlfriend. Maybe that vacuum is sexual sounds. You know? Worse than that, I love moaners. You know, moaners are great in bed. You know? It's like your own, you know, cheering audience sometimes. It's great. How can moaning be a felony? Moaning in a sexual way. Oh. Anyways, that's her third arrest since March. And it all started when she decided to look into a corrupt sheriff. And she didn't even pick the most corrupt thing that this sheriff has been party to. In fact, around the time that she moved to Polk County, Florida, this same sheriff was part of an operation where someone who was accused of killing an officer was in a shootout with police. And 110 bullets were fired at this suspect. 68 bullets hit him. And EllenBeth has been quoted as saying, well, the reason why they only shot 110 bullets is because that's probably all the ammunition they had on hand. So, I'm making this video to support EllenBeth Wachs, and hang in there, because, you know, sometimes people don't want the truth to be found out, but it's worth finding.